Hi, so what I have here is a Samsung CU7000 series, and I want to go through the menu system and all the settings and all the on-screen kind of configuration here. So the first step here is when you turn on the TV, you're going to enter the home screen. So on the remote, there's also a home button right here in the center that you could push that gets you to the home screen. The way the home screen is set up is there are actually apps all the way across here in the middle. So usually there is an ad at the top. So that's what you're seeing there is an ad. Now, the app screen has all the typical apps that you want to download: Netflix, Tubi, Prime Video, Hulu, Paramount, Disney. So I'm going to go into the app screen here later on, and I'm going to scroll down. So scrolling down, you're going to have a bunch of suggestions that are various topics. So these are just the shows that are available on all of the apps. And usually it's very overwhelming. It's going to be more than you ever want to basically watch or need to watch. So let me just zoom in here and show you more of the screen. Now, if you don't have the remote, you could turn on the TV at the bottom, right in the center. There's a button at the bottom, right there. And you could just push right here to turn on the TV. But just going over the screens themselves, so I'm going to also go over the settings that are available. So this is the home screen. Now the remote is a little bit tricky. So each button has multiple uses. So if you don't like this remote, you could actually get a more standard remote. That's Samsung. Like, a lot of these remotes are basically interchangeable if they are the same TV. So I'll have these links in the description area of where you could buy these extra remotes on Amazon. But going back to the home screen here, you could see it's an endless, totally endless, series of kind of shows. Now, the other thing about Samsung is that it has the Samsung TV Plus, which is kind of a streaming channel or a streaming app of a bunch of channels. So let me go into that and show you. So I'm going to go all the way up here, and as one of the choices, you could see right there, there's the TV Plus, Samsung TV Plus. And if I go into it, it opens up the app. And the app, if I go scroll to these homes, they have live TV. So I could load the live TV here. And let me push mute on this. So the remote is a little bit tricky. So let me go through the remote. There's these buttons here. So these buttons have multiple use, as I mentioned. So if I hold down this left button here and I hold it down, it actually turns on the, one second, let me go close this out. It actually mutes. So if I push on the button, it turns the mute on. However, if I hold it down, it goes to the kind of accessibility, like if you have hearing disability or something. So if I push and hold this button, it goes into this particular screen, which is the accessibility shortcuts. Now I'm going to exit out of this. Or if I push up and down on this button, it is the volume. So you could see that one button has like 4 different things to it. So I'm going to do the mute by just pushing the button again, and that's mute. And similarly, on this other side, there is the channel guide. So if I push on this button, the channel guide comes up. And if I hold the button, and I have to aim down at the TV, so I could also navigate across. So that's the tricky part about this remote, is that each button has multiple uses. Now if I push and hold onto this button, the side menu will come up. So that is a particular feature here. where I could scroll down. It's like a shortened channel guide. Whereas if I push the button here, the channel guide comes up. So that's how the channel guide comes up, is this button right here. Now I'm just going to go back because I wanted to show you basically the, so I'm going to push this button to go back to the menu, and I'm going to show you basically what is the Samsung TV Plus. So you could see that this is the Samsung TV Plus app, and it's kind of like any streaming channel like Netflix or like Disney Plus or Paramount Plus. So you could see here's the live channels. And if I go to the live channels, you can see now with these live channels here, you know, there's ABC, there's CNN, you know, so this is not the CNN channels. This is the kind of online version of those channels. So just keep that in mind. You know, there's Yahoo Finance, Today, Script, Bloomberg, and all of that. So that's what Samsung TV Plus comes with. And so this is a little bit different than a lot of the other brands, like, you know, Roku has its own, and you know, LG has its own. But the advantage of getting Samsung is that Samsung has its own app for like a lot of these. So if I go to the movie channels, you could see all the different movies. But I must say they're like kind of like second-rate movies. So just keep that in mind. So I think I've spent enough in this particular app. So I do want to go to the movies and TV shows, and I could show you here. You know, so these are the type of movies that are in Samsung TV Plus. You know, so again, this is just, you know, an overwhelming amount of stuff that you could just watch forever and binge watch if you really wanted to. And then there's like the music section. So if you look at the music section, so this is, once again, this is all in Samsung TV Plus. And then if I go to the kids section, here's kid shows. So once again, this is a very handy feature of Samsung TVs themselves, not just specific to the CU7000. But I spent basically enough with this particular feature, so I'm just going to hit home, and then I'm going to go back to the main, and you could see there that you know, I have YouTube here, Tubi, Netflix, so all of those could be brought back up. I spend most of my time basically viewing YouTube, so that's one of my favorite channels. So much for this here. Now I do want to go to the apps, so you could see all of the apps that are going to be available. And you could search up here. So here there's a search button where you could search for a particular app instead of looking for it all. Now if you wanted to put a particular app that you've downloaded onto your, basically onto your home screen, what you do is you go on that app. So I have Tubi selected here, and then you push and hold the center button here. So I'm going to push and I'm going to hold onto that, and you could see that a menu comes up, and the menu comes up, and when you navigate up and down, you can say, hey, reinstall, delete, add to home screen. So that's how you add basically channels or apps that are not on the home screen onto the home screen. So I'm going to go back. I'm just going to scroll down so you could see all of the tons of channels: Paramount Plus, you know, AMC Plus, Hulu. So these you could basically download. YouTube TV, you know, and endless. It's endless. So you could go even search. So if I go all the way up and I want to search, I'm going to do the app search over there. you know, I could search for an app. So for example, if I want to search for Disney, you know, Disney, you know, there's Disney Plus, and I could, you know, click on that and download it if I want. And it says it's already installed right there. So there's plenty of options. There's definitely no lack of options. And I'm going to hit exit, basically exiting the app screen. So because YouTube is such a popular app, I do want to go through YouTube here. The other thing I wanted to mention about this app menu is at the end here, there's an edit list. So on the edit list, if you highlight that and you push this round button, it'll go in and you could reorder, you know, you can move these things around. So I can move internet over there, you know. Anyways, that's how you rearrange these to your liking. So I'm going to go into YouTube because YouTube's such a popular app. I just wanted to show you, you know, how YouTube is. So here's, you know, YouTube navigation. If you scroll down, it has all these recommendations. You could also log in to your own account. Now, you could also search, and you could also, you know, have different topics. Now, there is no voice search on this. Also, I will have a video on how to connect this to Google Home and also navigate via your basically phone. So just look for that video also. But this is pretty much it. This is the, you know, YouTube app here. You could just see all of the different, you know, features. So that's the YouTube app, and let me just head over back to the home channel. And now I'm going to show you all of the settings of the TV itself. So let me go ahead and let me center this a little bit better. All right, and there's two ways to do it. There's this button here. So there's this button in the corner here to get to the settings. So once again, one button has many features. So if I push this button once, you can see the settings menu comes up at the bottom. Now if I push it twice, this is a number pad to type numbers in. So if you had a PIN code, if you had a prompt that came up that says it wants numbers entered, that's a quick way of doing it. And so you have to push it. Basically, you could push this 3 times to toggle between the settings. So you can see with this particular button, I'm pushing it 3 times to toggle between what I want. So pushing it once is the number pad to type in numbers. Push it again, it's info. Push it again, it's the particular settings. So you can see I'm scrolling through, setting the Wi-Fi, the sound, the audio, the energy saving mode, power saving, support, and then all the settings. So if I want to go to all the settings, I could click enter. And here's where I could go to all of the main settings of the settings page. Now another way to go into this is I'm just going to hit home, and I'm going to navigate over to this left-hand menu. So I'm going to use this navigation key with this ring here is navigation. I'm going to move over, and I'm going to push down, and you can see right down here is settings. And I'm going to click on settings. And you could see, you know, I'm back where that menu bar is, or settings bar at the bottom. So you can see all these different things. I'm going to go back to the end and show you all of this global settings. So I'm going to go into this settings menu. So the first thing is the picture. So I'm going to click on the picture settings. You can see you have eco, standard, dynamic, movie mode, filmmaker mode. Now I have eco set. Now here, you could have the picture sizes. You could see picture size, I could fit to screen, zoom, or position. And then here's expert settings. So if I click on expert settings, this is where you could fine tune everything. So contrast, sharpness, color, tint, apply picture settings, clarity, contrast enhancer. So these are settings you could kind of search for on the internet to see what's the best. Color tone, white balance, gamma, shadow. So, and then you could just reset to factory default at the bottom. And if I, so that's the expert settings. Now if I go to audio, the sound, you can see TV speakers, standard mode. So adaptive, amplify, I just have standard. So the sound mode, standard, adaptive, amplify, I have standard. And then once again, the expert settings. So I'm going to click on the expert settings. You can see the equalizer, HDMI, ARC, eARC mode, auto volume. So I could see auto volume being annoying, so that's turned off. Resetting the sound, so that's the sound. Now the connections, so this is the network. So that's my Samsung CU7000 58-inch. And that's the network. So if I click on network, network status, that's actually the Wi-Fi. So I'm going to close. So here's where you kind of set your Wi-Fi, open network settings. And here's where you kind of set your network, wired, wireless. So that's how that works. Reset the network, expert settings. So power on with mobile. Allow mobile devices like smartphones and tablets on your network to turn on your TV. So later on, I'm going to have another video that shows you how to hook this up to Google Home, where I could use voice commands to basically turn on my TV, turn off my TV, stuff like that, or use the smart app on the phone to control it. So IP remote, I could actually allow IP control devices to remotely access and adjust your TV system and settings for your viewing environment. Power on with mobile must be on to use this feature. So I could enable this also. And then I could say OK. To enable this feature, turning on this feature may allow other IP control devices to control your TV. So if there's any network devices, once again, that's on the same network, such as your phone connected to the Wi-Fi, can turn on your TV or change channels on your TV. And then Wi-Fi turn on and off. So that's that with the expert settings. Now there's the Bluetooth device list. So you can see I can attach a keyboard or a controller or a mouse to this particular TV. And then external devices. So you could see all of these different things. Input device manager. So that's the setup of input devices, keyboards, mice, device connection manager. So that's the device list, stuff like that. So there is Bluetooth on this TV. And then here's AirPlay settings. So I'm going to go in and AirPlay. So there is Apple AirPlay on this, with the required code. So you could, basically have Apple AirPlay. I actually don't have Apple products, so that doesn't necessarily apply to me, but that's how you set it up. Now that's the broadcasting. So I could do the auto scanning. So if I have cable TV or if I have an HD antenna. So because I'm on Wi-Fi, I strictly use this basically for the Wi-Fi and streaming stuff. So there's not much here other than this will set up your antenna stuff or your cable TV stuff. And then here's just kind of like if you have the updates, that this is just more legal stuff. And, system manager changing the time, language. So here's the supported languages. English, Spanish, French, Ersti, Suomi, German. Wow, there's just tons of languages. Look at all look at all these languages. Crazy, crazy, crazy amount of languages. Portuguese, Romania, Slovakia, Russian. Wow, look at this. Look at this. So that looks like Korean. Well, it is Samsung after all. So, all right. So I'm going to scroll back up in case you want a second look at these languages. Latvia, German, French, English. So this is the Samsung account. So for Samsung is your Samsung web account. So it's the account that you log into via the browser. So you could create an account here. Sometimes you need this to keep favorites or to have a channel list or stuff like that. So that sets it up here. So that's that, and you could see, you know, you could sign in, or you could use the QR code. I'm just going to say cancel, and yes, I want to cancel. Changing the pin, so this is the parental setting pin. 0000 is the default pin. So just keep that in mind. 000 is the default pin. Usage mode. So this is whether it's you're at home or you're in the showroom. So 000. So I'm going to show you the keypad here. So you can see at the bottom, by default, it has the keypad now. Or I could, you know, push this button here and toggle it 3 times to rotate to the keypad. So 000. And then I'm going to push, you know, home mode. So that's home mode. So retail mode is just demo mode. When it's in the showroom or where you're buying it, it just rotates through the features and stuff like that when it's in the demo mode. Okay, so this is, you know, parental settings. The parental lock is on. So I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to have 000. So the parental lock is off. 0. And the program rating settings is off. So you could see on the corner here what that means. You know, there's that's the list. App lock settings. Set the install app lock. So that's to prevent people from installing apps. Power saving energy mode. So power and energy saving mode here. So I'm going to go in here. You know, brightness optimization. So that there's a sensor at the bottom that adjusts the brightness. So I could turn that on or off depending on the lighting. And then I can have a minimum brightness. I set this to 3. Energy saving solution. Motion lighting, screensaver, auto power saving. I should probably have that on. No, so that's more for the Wi-Fi. That's why I have it off. And then the auto power off is 4 hours. Now if I push this, you can see 6 hours, 8 hours, or off. I have it for 4 hours. So if nothing is touched, the TV will turn off automatically by itself. Start screen option. So do I want to auto run at the home screen, or do I want the last app? So I just want the home screen. And then here, the bottom here is reset. Do you want to reset everything? So that's the general and the privacy. And finally, there's the support. So do I want to update? You know, set an auto update. So that's the software support. Channel guide, controller guide, the e-manual, remote management I have turned off. So that's really it. That's really the complete settings. And I'm going to go back home. And by the way, once again, you can access that, you know, quick menu right here with this button. So I'm going to push this button, and you can see the bottom. Now, if that doesn't show up, you have to toggle through. You have to keep on pushing this button. So it's the number pad, it's the info, and then it goes back when you push this 3 times. So those are the quick settings. You know, sleeper time, Bluetooth, picture, Wi-Fi. You know, so that's that for all of these. Now I have not figured out what this button is. That's supposed to be a context sensitive button depending on what app you're in, except that I have not found an app. So you could see this button to the right here. If I push it again, that shows up. I have not found an app that actually does anything with that particular button. So speaking of buttons, I do want to go through the remote control. So this itself is a very basic remote control, and for the most part it does everything. Now if you're not used to that remote control, once again you could get a normal remote control from Samsung, and I'll have these links, Amazon links, in the description. So if you're not used to this and you want to navigate with, you know, arrow keys, you might want this remote. Now I've finally gotten used to this. Now you know, this is a very small, handy remote, and it's actually very cheap. It's like $13 on Amazon if you want to get a spare, which is probably handy if you lose a lot of these remotes. Now, there is the return or exit here. So this button here is the return or exit. This button here is the home. This is the play or pause. So if you are on the channel guide, you might want to push this. This is navigation. So up, you know, left, right, down, and then this is the select. And you might want to hold this down at certain points to get information. Now these buttons are tricky. This is the volume and this is the channel, but you push this up and down. So for example, I could push this up, or I could push this down for the volume. So I'm going to push this up, 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 or down, 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 down. Or when I push it, so it's also a button too. So if I push this button, you see the volume is muted. If I push it again, it unmutes the volume. Now this button here is the channel button. So I could go up and down channels with this button, but likewise with this button here, if I push it, it brings up the channel guide. So see how it brings up the channel guide when I push it? So once again, one of these buttons have multiple uses. So if I push and I hold the button, so I'm going to push and I'm going to hold, this right menu is going to come up. So that right menu comes up when I push and I hold. So I'm going to exit this by pushing back. And now I'm going to push and hold this volume button. And then the accessibility options are going to come up. And that's what this is, the high contrast, the grayscale. So I'm going to show you this too. So this is kind of for people with special needs, whether it's hearing or it's caption. So if you want caption, here's where you get the you know, English caption, or the you know, special needs for higher contrast and stuff like that. So I'm going to exit this. So that's the buttons here, and then these are just specific channel buttons. So this is the Samsung TV Plus button that they have. So when I push this, the Samsung TV Plus app is going to come up, and I reviewed this or went through this at the beginning. Netflix button, Prime Video button, and Disney Plus button. So you can see these are the 4 channels they're promoting. So one thing about this remote is I find I have to hold it up to the top because I use these navigations button the most. So it has to be the center. Whereas if I hold it at the bottom, right, your middle, you know, if you hold this down at the bottom where the battery is and it uses 2 AAA batteries, you know, you can't really reach up to the top where you use most of your navigation. So just keep that in mind. And then here's the power button right there. And once again, as I mentioned, there's a power button at the bottom of the TV in the center, and then you basically use your finger, you push up to turn on and off the TV. But a TV like this, you know, you really need a remote, so I would suggest you getting an extra set of remotes for this, because this is such a small remote that it's easy to lose, or even if you want to get, you know, one of these. So you know, so for example, this one navigates fine too. This one is for another Samsung TV that I have, and it works just as good, you know, with so this remote control works just as well with the navigation. So final words is I like this TV guide and the home screen and all of that. I think it's called Tizen. I think it's called Samsung Tizen. It takes some getting used to. I like that it has Samsung TV Plus. I do have an LG TV video that I went through of all of their screens, so you could see all of the LG screens. If you're thinking about getting a LG or Samsung, look at those two videos and see which interface you basically like better, and you decide. So my gut is that I actually like the navigation of the LG a little bit better. I use YouTube a lot, so I find that to be handier, but all in all, with YouTube and with the other apps, it's all equal. Now, having the streaming channel, Samsung TV Plus, does give Samsung a little bit of an added benefit, but on the other hand, there's other apps like, you know, Crackle or Fubo, you know, or Tubi, that basically replaces a lot of the Samsung, except that the Samsung has the live channels. So, for example, you know, Samsung does have, you know, this live TV that you could basically scroll through, you know, with the reality shows, the game shows, the news channels. So you could see the topics on the left there. The feature channels, you could also navigate, and you could, you know, click and highlight your favorite shows. But you could see the different types of live channels that it has. So it's almost like cable, or it's almost like you know, an antenna channel, you know, the news channel. So I'm going to click on the news channels, and you can see, for example, here's CBS News, and you could see all the different programs with, you know, Dateline NBC here. What would you do? You know, Sky News from, I think that's Australia. And then it also even has local channels. So it also has, I'm based in Boston, so it even also has those channels. So you could see Boston News, you know, stuff like that. So it'll pick up, if you're in Dallas, or if you're in anywhere else, or Chicago, whatever, or New York, it'll also show those particular channels instead of these Boston channels. It goes by basically your location. So just keep that in mind, that the thing that gets it over the top between LG and Samsung might actually just be the Samsung app itself. Though I think Samsung actually has, so the picture quality between the LG and the Samsung is equivalent. And for most TVs, it's equivalent nowadays with the color and all of that. So, you know, maybe it doesn't make that big a difference with the navigation or with the so-called TV app that it has. But either one would do. I would say look at both videos between the LG screens and the Samsung screens, and you decide for yourself. But I would say the Samsung TV Plus, you know, puts Samsung a little bit, you know, gives Samsung a little bit of an edge. So, all right, there you go. This has been a long video. I hope this helps, and please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.